Back-to-back SEC champions. The Georgia Bulldogs put it away right here on this play after a turnover on downs from Alabama. Gunnar Stockton with his third touchdown pass of the game to Zachariah Branch to make it 28-7. And that was the final. It was never close. The Dogs win it 28-7, win back-to-back SEC championships, and lock up a top 4 spot in the college football playoff. Likely will move to number 2 on Sunday. The champion of the Big Ten will take the number 1 overall seed. Georgia getting it done defensively. Gunnar Stockton, 20 of 26, 156 yards, didn't have to throw a lot, 3 touchdowns. And for Alabama, the stat that's going to come out of this, -3 rushing yards. This SEC Championship postgame report is presented by Belfour Property Restoration, here with former Penn State tight end Adam Brenneman and CBS Sports College Football insider Richard Johnson. Adam, did you see this coming 28-7 and what Georgia was able to do from start to finish?
Yeah, I did not expect a dominating performance like this from Georgia. Listen, Georgia squeezed the absolute life out of Alabama in this game. Alabama never looked in control of this game. Ty Simpson's head was spinning out there. It was a masterclass by Georgia defensive coordinator Glenn Schumann, who really outdueled Alabama OC Ryan Grubb. I mean, the pressure that Georgia was able to bring, the way they caused chaos in this game. You mentioned the shocking stat. Alabama, -3 yards rushing in this game. You're not going to beat any team in college football with -3 yards rushing. It was a dominating, fierce performance by Georgia.
Yeah, we're talking about the lack of rushing yards. Let's talk about carries here. You only had 8 carries for Alabama because they got game scripted out of this game. Look, I'll tell you this much. Don't tell anybody in that building in Athens that the SEC championship game doesn't matter. Don't tell any of them that you're in the playoff anyway, so maybe you should sit, maybe you should rest. They had their best stuff for this game because they took it seriously, because they wanted to hang a banner for winning this league. Kirby Smart said it last week after the Georgia Tech game. I was there in this same building. They wanted to be back here. They weren't sure when they left Atlanta last week if they would be back here, but then the Texas A&M game finished, and they realized that they would be playing for the SEC championship game. It mattered to these Georgia Bulldogs, and they played their best. I do not think I've seen Georgia play a better performance start to finish than I saw tonight. I know the Texas game was really nice a few weeks ago, but this, from snap 1 to the final whistle, incredible performance for the Dogs.
It was really what they were able to do in the first quarter, right? Georgia blocks a punt. 4 plays later, they get a touchdown. They set the tone early, right? Georgia set the tone early, which was something that they struggled to do for most of the season. They were a second-half team. It was always the joke, had us in the first half, right? And now they have found a way. They have come on strong end of season here.
Yeah, that was exactly the kind of game control Georgia wanted to play in this game, and it puts Gunnar Stockton then in really good positions where he doesn't have to force the ball down the field. Georgia can run the football because they have the lead and just kind of do what they do best, play great defense, stop Alabama's run game, and you just have the lead all game long. You know, Gunnar Stockton, I thought, played a phenomenal game here just by, number 1, not turning the football over. And you see right here, 3 touchdowns in this game for Gunnar Stockton. He was efficient. He was poised in the pocket. His offensive line gave him tons of time. He was really never under pressure in this game.
Yeah, I think when you talk about Georgia's defense as well in this game, what they were able to do against Alabama was key to me, because Alabama only had 4 explosive pass plays the entire game. And Ty Simpson had 30 passing attempts. Alabama was able to keep everything in front of, Georgia was able to keep everything in front of them with those split safety looks, 2 safeties back, and they were able to stop. Well, it's not like Alabama really ran the ball much at all, but they were able to stop the run when they needed to. And Alabama goes 4 of 16 on 3rd and 4th down conversions. When Georgia had to get off of the field, they did.
Ty Simpson went the wrong way, right? 6 passing touchdowns, 4 interceptions over his last 5 games. You consider 20 passing touchdowns, 1 interception over his first 8 games of the season. We certainly put him in the Heisman conversation. What you saw from him in these last 5 games, was what? What stands out to you, Adam, when you look at his body of work over his last 5 games? He looks inexperienced.
Yeah, and Ty Simpson never looked comfortable at all. I think one of the biggest things hurting Ty Simpson is the lack of run game for Alabama, especially in this one, constantly in 3rd down and long. The average 3rd down to go in this game for Alabama was 3rd down and 8. I mean, especially against a defense like Georgia, your head is spinning at quarterback because you don't know where pressure's coming from. You got guys coming from all different directions, and it never allows a new quarterback to truly settle in. But it's concerning if you're Kalen DeBoer. There's a true regression from your starting quarterback. And as a head coach, the number one thing you have to do is get your quarterback to play well.
Yep.
You have to help him process things. If you're Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator, you're getting paid a lot of money to make sure Ty Simpson can process fast and make smart throws. We have not seen it last few weeks.
You mentioned Ty Simpson under duress. In many ways, this is a continuation of the second half of the Iron Bowl last week when Auburn really bowed up and Alabama's offense short-circuited in the second half of that game once they went up 17-0. It's a continuation of that Georgia was able to keep that going and keep that Alabama offense really looking like they didn't know what was going on today.
What's your evaluation of the Georgia Bulldogs heading into the college football playoff?
There's not a team in the playoff who wants to play Georgia right now. This defense, number one, they can stop anyone in the country. And then when Georgia plays offense the way they played in this game, get the lead early, control the ball, when Gunnar Stockton plays the way he did, most impressively, the offensive line for Georgia gives Gunnar Stockton time to make plays down the field. The best number for Georgia, 4 of 4 in the red zone, 4 appearances, 4 touchdowns in the red zone. All 28 of their points came on long drives, touchdowns down there inside the 20. That's the impressive part. I think Georgia's one of the most dangerous teams going into the playoff.
Absolutely.
Last week, after they beat Georgia Tech, Kirby Smart said something. He said, we're going to use the break, and at that point in time, they weren't sure if they were playing in the SEC championship game, but he said, we're going to use the break to add to our encyclopedia of offense and defense. That's the word he used. I thought that was so key. Yes, Georgia had the bye last year and sat all that time from SEC championship until New Year's Day. They're going to do it again. How will they handle that? I'm sure they would have learned something, I should say, from last year's experience doing that. Kirby Smart said that they've consulted other teams that had to deal with it as well. I think they will handle it much differently this year, and they will be better for it. I thought that they were not ready for what Notre Dame had for them last year when they came off the bye, given Notre Dame had played a first-round game, and they were a little bit slow starting in that Sugar Bowl game. And obviously debuting Gunnar Stockton in that game for his first career start. So let's see how they handle the break differently heading into the bye week this year, or the bye for the first round this year.
And Georgia will likely be the number 2 team in the college football playoff when the rankings come out on Sunday. The Big Ten champion will likely be number 1. Well, let's say the situation here for Alabama is a question mark, right? We thought maybe that the committee insulated Alabama, putting them at 9, but now questions arise. I want to take you back to Tuesday to what someone said on this very desk.
3 touchdowns or less, they have to lose by.
Okay.
If you lose by 21 points or less, I don't think they're impacted.
So 20 were good.
20 were good. 20 were good. I mean, I really think it would have to be an absolute butt-whooping in order for them to fall out like 30 to 40 points, which isn't going to happen.
Okay. Adam, they lost by 21. What say you now?
I would say 21 points is the gray area. Anything under 21 would have been okay.
You called it, man.
I got it right on. A 21-point loss for Alabama. Listen, 21 points is enough to start this conversation, but I really think Alabama still gets into the playoff. You get into this conversation around Alabama played an extra game in the SEC title game. It's really hard to punish them and get them and move them out of the playoff because they got to this point in the season. Now with 3 losses, not all 3-loss teams are the same. Alabama's different than any other 3-loss team right now. I think Alabama will and should stay in the playoff. But listen, one more touchdown they would have given up, I think they would have been out.
Look, I'm telling you this. I'm having Adam Brenneman fill out my lotto ticket next week.
Yeah, you should have done a score prediction. You should have done a score prediction. So you're telling me you're not going to punish Alabama, but you're going to punish Miami?
Well, Miami's not in as of right now.
I know.
Yeah.
But that's what people that are rooting for Miami and that will have a campaign, they're going to take shots at Notre Dame and they're going to take shots at Alabama now.
Yeah, the difference is that Alabama was in as of last Tuesday's bracket. I don't think anything that happens in this SEC championship game, unless they would have lost by 30 points, as I said on Tuesday, they would be out. Since they played in the game and lost, they should still be in the playoff. Miami, because they didn't make the ACC title game, something they controlled, it doesn't get the benefit of that conversation.
Bingo.
The games have to matter, though.
But Alabama exposed itself to a 13th data point,
Correct.
and a 13th data point loss should not necessarily kill you and knock you out. I do think at the end of the day, for Miami, as I've said on this desk for the last couple weeks, I think they're really happy that BYU lost the way that they did. I think now it's time to measure truly the head-to-head between Notre Dame and Miami. I know that Miami fans have been yelling about it for 6 weeks at us, but they haven't really done it. The committee has not really done it. I think they are about to do it tonight and tomorrow morning.
So you think Alabama is firmly in the playoff?
I don't know about firmly in the playoff,
Okay.
but I do think Miami is in the playoff. I think Miami's
what chances,
in.
if you are giving the Sportsline projections, if the Sportsline projections, according to Richard Johnson, are what for Alabama?
I think Alabama has a really, really high chance of getting in. I think Miami's about a coin flip, but a little bit better. I think Miami's probably like a 60-40 case. I think Alabama's pretty firmly in. I know it didn't look good today, but they have beaten this Georgia team before. I think that when you look at the totality of Alabama's resume and you consider that this is a 13th data point, for instance, I think Alabama gets in the field.
I truly believe that the conference championship game should be able to help you in the playoff. I don't think it should hurt you. This is the conference championship game for the best conference in the sport, arguably, if you want to debate the Big Ten, but one of the best conferences in the sport, and you shouldn't be punished for playing in that game and losing the game.
So right now, according to our friends at FanDuel, Alabama to make the college football playoff minus 340, Miami plus 160. So what you're telling me is Alabama is going to knock out another ACC team once again in the college football playoff. A couple years ago, they knocked out Florida State. Now it's going to be Miami, according to our experts. Okay, time now for the Belfour Player of the Game, presented by Belfour Property Restoration. Adam, going to take us? You're going to take us defense. You're going to take us offense for your player of the game.
You know I'm going offense. And
Yeah,
Gunnar Stockton, the way he played at quarterback, in these types of games, your quarterback has to play their best football. And he played really well against a strong Alabama defense, 20 of 26 passing. He ran the ball well himself, had 30 yards rushing on the ground. But he also did this without a good run game from his running backs. Georgia only ran the ball for 3 yards a carry in this game. So even more impressive that he was able to be efficient throwing the football, pushed it down the field, threw for 3 touchdowns. Gunnar Stockton is playing like a guy who's played a lot of college football, a veteran. Hard to believe his first start was just at the end of last season.
My player of the game, players of the game with the plural. Give me them junkyard dogs. Give me all 11 of them, however many played. I don't know if they went the whole 2 deep in this game. Georgia's defense, tremendous in this game. Peaking at the right time, peaking at the best time. Also got some help from the third phase in special teams with the block kick early in the game. I think Georgia played tremendous complementary football in this game and played their best game at the best time.
I'm going to have a hard time putting Alabama into the college football playoff. I'm just telling you. From a fan's perspective, I'm going to have a hard time because now you're telling me that the results don't matter and the conference championship shouldn't penalize you. I'm just saying, good thing I'm not on the committee. If I were on the committee, I'd be in there stirring things up. Like, get this guy out of here.
Then why,
Get him out of here.
Why would teams want to play in the conference championship game?
Good question.
Well, I think.
Good question.
I think
you want to know what it starts with? M and it ends with money. That's why.
I think over the medium to long term in this sport, I think conference championship games are going the way of the dodo, to be honest with you.
Bye-bye.
It's a great reference, by the way.
Thank you.
Great reference.
Thank you.
You can see the dodo at your local museum. Seriously, I've seen it. It's incredible. Never saw one in person. I've seen Alabama win national championships. I've seen Georgia go back-to-back in the SEC. And look, they lose here in 2025. They'd won every one they had played in before, and including 3 of them against Georgia in the last couple years here. But they fall short. Will they fall short of the college football playoff? We wait to see Selection Sunday, hours away. That is going to be must-see TV when you talk about what this product has generated in college football. Dance on, young man. This SEC Championship postgame report is presented by Belfour Property Restoration. Back out to Atlanta, welcoming the two-time Super Bowl champ Bryant McFadden and 2-time national champ Damian Harris. And Damian, look, I got to start with you first here because as a former running back
Come on with it.
and a national champ, the running backs and this running game -3 rushing yards. That's embarrassing. What can you say about what Georgia's defense did against Alabama to really dictate the tempo and dictate this game from start to finish?
Well, Hakeem, you said it best. It was embarrassing. There was never a rhythm for the run game. All the pressure was on Ty Simpson's shoulders. The offensive line, the running backs collectively, they didn't do a great job of protecting against the blitz. Georgia sent a lot of secondary blitzes. They loved to send the star and the strong safety because they knew they weren't going to be able to get home with the front four. So guess what? They pressured Ty Simpson just like Oklahoma did, just like LSU did, and they got the same result. Alabama was off schedule. You want to talk about the run game. You want to talk about the pass game. They dominated. Georgia dominated this football game from a physicality standpoint, from a fundamental standpoint, from a coaching standpoint. Alabama had no chance. It's almost like they didn't know what they were up against. The Georgia Bulldogs are for real, and the Crimson Tide just didn't show up as if Georgia was as good as they were today.
Watching Georgia just dominate Alabama was an indictment on what Kirby Smart said weeks ago about what his program is built on. Most teams, most universities, they chase players that chase NIL money. Kirby Smart chased players that chase contact, that look for a physical battle within the game at the line of scrimmage. They were the more physical team. They played my man is better than your man football, Hakeem. We don't care if you know what we're doing. We don't think you can uphold the physical battle that we're going to display, play in and play out to be able to be successful. And that's what we saw. It looked like a varsity team playing against a JV team at the line of scrimmage. You talked about -3 yards for 4 quarters. Heck, at halftime, Bama had 17 rushing yards. So they declined in the second half in terms of the adjustments and just the physical punishment that we saw from Georgia. When you play football, you got to be willing to get into a physical battle, play in and play out. In Georgia, they were willing. Alabama was not, and of course the outcome was in favor of Georgia.
B-Mac, does Alabama look like a playoff team to you?
No. And I know we did our pregame show, Shots Out the Sports Line. They gave us the numbers. If Alabama lost, I think they said it was like, what? 99%. Guaranteed, basically, that they would get in. But, Hakeem, when you look at this display, 28-7. They got 21, like the kids say when they play Madden.
Pass the sticks.
You got to get off the sticks when you get down by 21. -3 yards rushing and only scored 7 points on Georgia. Tonight, they did not look like a playoff team.
I'm just going to say no. I know you want to ask me, Hakeem. I know you want to. Damian Harris, Alabama running back. Do you think Alabama's a playoff team? No, they are not. Miami, I would have a lot of confidence that they would score more than 7 points against this defense. Texas already did it. Vanderbilt, I believe they could do it. This Alabama team, specifically the offense, it did not look playoff caliber. Straight up and down, Hakeem. Straight up and down.
So I didn't even have to ask the question, B-Mac. He answered it for himself right there. I didn't have to ask it. He knew. He knew what I was going to say.
Hakeem, I know your games, Hakeem. I know your games.
When he's with me, I'm not going to allow him to dodge anything.
Hold on now.
I've already got on him about this.
Hold on now.
Right? I'm sorry. I just want to know.
Listen. We win with. Hey, stand back.
I stand back.
We win with dignity. We lose with pride. I'm still prideful. That's why I'm so frustrated right now.
As you should be.
But I'm going to be honest.
You better be honest.
I'm going to be truthful, and I'm going to tell it how it is. This Alabama team, they look like week 1.
Yeah.
Week 1.
Yeah.
And I've sat up here and talked about, I better not hear one person use the FSU loss week 1 against Alabama in terms of their resume. Well, guess what? They look like the team that walked into Doak Campbell week 1 and got blown out.
Well, certainly doubt has surrounded Alabama now. Look, I know that the committee insulated them, putting them 9th in the rankings, and it looks as if they're going to be in. The odds say that they're going to be in. They didn't look like a playoff team to any of us. -3 rushing yards, 7 points in this game. So certainly their playoff fate is in a bit of doubt because this is going to be up to human beings. And look, are they going to penalize them for what they just did in the SEC championship? We'll find out on Sunday. But B-Mac, as for this Georgia team, and this is pretty good here because I know you like statistics. Georgia's now 18-0 when blocking a punt under Kirby Smart. No one wants to face this team in the college football playoff.
And I'll say this right now, Hakeem, regardless what happens in the Big Ten championship game between Indiana and Ohio State, Georgia's the second best team in the country, hands down, right now. And I'll say this. If Indiana wins somehow against Ohio State, I think Georgia should be number 1, in my opinion, because of the entire body of work. Not just tonight, but what they've done the entire season and how they finished in a dominant fashion. They're playing high-level football. They have the best coach in college football. And remember, early on in the year, the issue for Georgia was slow starts, playing with their food in the first half. I never seen a Bulldog play with food, but for some reason, they were playing with their food in the first half. Now they're putting together 4 quarters of great football play, and their defense is playing looking like the Georgia defense of old. This is one of the scariest teams in college football, and if you happen to see them in the playoffs, you better make sure you buckle your chin strap because they're trying to knock your chin loose.
And on top of just the physicality, you talk about the run game. You talk about the defense playing like a Georgia defense. The trenches, they're tough everywhere. They have one of the most complete quarterbacks in college football. Now, when I say that, I mean he's a total package. He takes care of the football. He makes the plays that are there. He uses his legs to extend, and he's smart. Yeah. He is incredibly situationally smart. And it don't matter how tough you are here. If you ain't tough up here, you won't be able to compete at the level that Gunnar Stockton is playing at right now. And he's as tough as nails. As good as he is with his legs, his physical element that he adds to the run game, his smart decision-making, it brings you the total package. A quarterback that's not going to lose you games, a quarterback that's going to win you games. And then when you pair that with this defense, and then you pair that with the offensive line, and then you pair that with Nate Frazier, who is dragging bodies left and right all across Mercedes-Benz Stadium. You combine all that, I agree with Bryant McFadden. You got one of the best teams in the country, if not the best team in the country.
Yeah, Kirby Smart exacting some revenge here in this game, winning the SEC championship game for the 2nd year in a row. I just want to leave you with this. Alabama, 20-point losses for their last 2 head coaches. Kalen DeBoer, 2 in 26 games. Nick Saban, 1 in 235 games. How do you feel about that, Damian?
Ooh, how do I feel about that? I mean, we all knew this. We knew following in the footsteps of college football's greatest, the granddaddy of them all, Nick Saban, it wasn't going to be, you couldn't measure up to that. But what I will say is there is an expectation that comes with the University of Alabama. There's a standard, there's a level of excellence, execution on the football field, and just overall playing the game the right way. Like you said, Akeem, we've seen 2 instances where they've lost by 20 points, and that's doing the exact opposite of what I just said. And for whatever it's worth, it's just not good enough right now because clearly we saw the results. And as of right now, December 6th, Saturday night, it's not good enough.
And I think one of the more confusing things with Alabama, granted, you're right, stepping in for Nick Saban, you would never fulfill the shoes that he created. But one thing it's hard for us as fans to tolerate is not seeing you be physical. That's the thing. Not being physical, because you know how the game of football goes. Sometimes you might not be the fastest, you might not be the quickest or the strongest. But in terms of relentless effort and just not allowing a man just to push you around, that's what we saw. And to your point, you're right. It looked so similar to what we saw week 1 against Florida State, getting pushed around. I mean, Ty Simpson looked like he had no answer. And he came into this game as one of the top potential quarterbacks in the NFL draft for 2026. He didn't live up to the billing. What Brent Venables did against Alabama weeks ago, it opened a Pandora's box in how to confuse Ty Simpson. And some of the coverage movements that we saw from Georgia had him in a blender. I mean, he had little birds flying around his head because he couldn't. He was confused. He didn't know exactly where to go with the football.
Can I say something? Because you were absolutely right. But you just talked about getting pushed around, and it just brought up a play from the game. You remember when Ty Simpson was hit low, they called roughing the passer in the end zone. What was the first thing I looked to you and said? Nobody wanted smoke after that.
No.
Nobody wanted to stand up for their quarterback. Nobody wanted to come check somebody like, whoa, that ain't cool, man. Because that was a low hit. And as a team that is built on physicality, that's built on toughness, to see your quarterback get hit like that and you're not ready to go to blows in the SEC championship at this point in the year when you got a playoff spot on the line, when you got Miami on your heels, you got Texas on your heels, you got Vandy on your heels trying to get that final playoff spot. That's everything you was just saying.
Yeah.
Alabama
tied
for the fewest points scored by any team in the last 25 SEC championship games. B-Mac, final thought.
No, I was just about to stir up the pot, but I don't know if we want to go off the rails a little bit. But in terms of this whole playoff picture and seeing what happened so far in conference championship week games, if Alabama gets in with 3 losses, I mean, BYU will have an argument as well. See, that's what happens when you open up this Pandora's box. And we talked about this. You said during our weekly playoff reveal show that you can't allow a team to get in with 3 losses. You said that,
I agree.
Hakeem, and I
stand by that.
So now, what happens if the committee says, regardless of what happened this past Saturday, we can't punish Alabama for playing in an extra game and losing? They get in. So what are you going to do with BYU? They got 2 losses. This was their second loss.
To the same team.
To the same team, and they got blown out just like Alabama. This is what's going to happen tomorrow, and I can't wait for the chaos and the mess. Are y'all ready for the mess?
We need to be in that room, by the way. We need to be in that room. The two-timers, two-time Super Bowl champ, Brian McFadden, 2-time national champ, Damian Harris here with us on CBS Sports HQ. Men, thank you. Man, this conversation is going to continue here throughout the overnight because Alabama at 10-3, do they get in? Should they get in? The committee told us they should be in, right? Putting them 9th in the rankings before this game was played. Again, I keep saying this statement, they insulated them. They protected them. They didn't put them at 10 where they put Notre Dame. So if we're going to have our first 3-loss team into the college football playoff, it looks like it's going to be Roll Tide.